Well, these are some of the issues which we intend to look at, especially as the All Progressives Congress hope to go into their convention in this month of February. But is that still going to be the case, considering the fact that they moved it from December to this month, and it looks like that there is some speculation that it might not hold. It's still speculation, but we have with us here members of the All Progressives Congress to confirm whether or not they believe that it's still going to go on as planned in this month of February. Joining us right now in the studio, Dr. Nwoye, who's the former chairman of APC in Enugu State, former secretary, APC State Chairman Forum. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily this morning.
Thank you.
We also have with us Mr. Garba, who is an APC chieftain. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you very much. Okay.
So can you confirm to us, I think it's February 26th, it's supposed to be the day?
Yes, it's February 6th.
Is it still going on as planned?
Yeah, based on the program of events, it's still going on as planned. I think today there might even be going to be swearing in of the State Congress, State Executive members of the party. So it's still going on, although amidst a lot of issues, I can see or before we even start the program, you played back the situation about Abdullah Adamu's committee moving around the state, trying to conciliate most of the parties that, you know, don't agree with each other. So when you look at these kind of things, and you can see the committee, Abdullah Adamu's committee, have been requested for more time to be able to properly address and conciliate most of those members that don't agree, you know, within the party. And that is why we believe that even if the convention might be postponed, it will still be very good for us to be able to make sure that all the contending parties have properly addressed their own challenges, so that when we come to convention, we come as a united force.
You think that probability is there, that the convention might not hold?
It's very, very much there. If we have a problem, if parties, we still cannot be able to have all the state congresses, you know, all the state executive members, you know, come to the convention ground as a united force, we are likely going to face the case of implosion. Of course, whether we like it or not, party issues will remain. No matter how we struggle to try to fix it, we cannot have it 100%. But we cannot come into party where you have grandstanding and boundaries in particular states. There are so many states where you have parallel chairmen. Of course, today there is going to be swearing in, but I'm not sure all the chairmen are going to be sworn in, because we have issues in Anambra. We don't have even a state executive committee in Anambra. We don't even have the same in Zamfara State. We have so many other crises in so many states. So what I believe is, I think we have to arrange, organize, and make sure that there is cohesion, understanding, so that when we come to convention ground, it will even going to be better for us to have consensus candidate than contestation, so that we don't face the problem that PDP faced in 2013, whereby there was implosion and some governors walk out that brought about APC into power. So we have to avoid that. And this grandstanding is clearly manifesting itself. So whatever the case, if 26 is going to go, fine. But if there is room for more extension, provided we don't agree properly and we don't have one united force that is going to elect our general to confront the 2023 election, who is the party national chairman, then I believe we should postpone the convention pending when we are able to get every other member of the party on board properly.
Barrister Nwoye, let me ask you what your thoughts are. Are you also afraid, or I don't know whether afraid is a word to you, but do you have any anxiety about the convention which has been slated for February 26th? That's this one.
I do not have any anxiety. And I can tell you that that convention has to go. It must go if we want this party to remain intact, if we want this party to be able to conduct election and win elections. No party and no moment where we have a perfect situation. The body that we have now managing the party is not contained in our constitution. And that is the caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee. They had 6 months. Their mandate was 6 months. And I was there when the 6 months was given as a chairman, as a member of NEC. We agreed that we had a lot of issues during the Adams Oshomole's tenure. And we agreed as leaders of this party, and especially grassroots leaders, the chairman, that in the interest of the party unity, to deepen democracy, to allow for issues to be resolved, that state organs needs to be dissolved and caretaker emerge. And then within 6 months, the mandate was unite the party and organize a convention. And then they've done well in an attempt to unite the party. Most of the lawsuits that were existing by that 2020 were resolved. People withdrew their lawsuits out of respect for the party decision, because the party is supreme, out of respect for our leader, Mr. President. People withdrew, even though some have legitimate action going on. And indeed, those who failed to withdraw their action were actually either suspended or expelled from the party. Okay, and then with the belief that the caretaker committee will hold on to the mandate, and that mandate was conduct extraordinary convention. Okay, now, then it appears that goalposts keep moving. It appears that it became a moving target. The caretaker committee led by my friend, His Excellency Nwoye, has done very well. They've recovered 3 states. They've done registration and we've kind of gotten more members. I think about over 40 million new members recorded. They've done well. They have also done well in resolving many of the disputes. They've also done very well in by-election. Most of the by-elections they won, most of them. So there is indeed no perfect situation to have a convention. In 2018, when we had a convention, there were cleavages here and there. There were parallel state structures here and there. And sometimes the party will set up committees that we keep resolving those issues. We went on and had that, and come back 2019, we were able to win. We returned President Muhammadu Buhari, even though we had, by 2019, even though we had all those issues. So if anyone's saying that until the Adamus committee resolves all issues, then in a way, it's not possible. There's issue will continue to exist. If we fail to hold this convention as planned, the party will begin to lose credibility, not just to members of the party, but also to the society at large. The question will become, why would this institution put together, or the body put together, a 13 members body, and given a mandate to conduct convention just within 6 months, then they ask for extension. It's another 6 months, then another extension. Then we forgot the reason, the key reason they were set in the first place was just to do convention. Then they started the process of constitutional amendment. So people are not ignorant. You start a process of constitutional amendment, it eats up time. You started a process of new members registration, it eats up time. Then you have the youth group held a conference, it eats up time. Then you have the women group held a conference a couple of weeks. These are all good to mobilize the party. It eats up time. Then eventually the next thing we hear is that the leaders of the special people in the party will hold a conference. It will eat more time. And perhaps the foundation members and elderly people like myself will hold their own conference. It eats up more time. At what point then are we going to have the convention? So these things are done where convention becomes a moving target.
Do you suspect a plan then to perpetuate the convention committee in office?
It is not a suspicion. What you see is what I'm telling you. Because these are facts. It's not a suspicion. It's a fact. And at some point, it has to be over. And I believe that His Excellency Nwoye Buni that I know is an honest man. He wants to work for this country, and he has done so. He has put the party together. The party is actually more united than it was before he took over. The party has more members than before he took over. The party is now well structured than the time he took over. We have fewer, other than the cases coming out of state congresses. We have fewer cases. Okay, so these things could be done. So, but if someone's saying that there's a plan, I do not have a belief that is coming from the convention. I think sometimes it might be unseen hands. People who have other interests are finding a way to scuttle it, because I believe that this committee, they are actually very honest people. who have put this in together. Of course, they may have made mistake by taking on too much beyond what their mandates were. But now, the information I have is in public, is that they have sent their letter, the 21-day notice, to INEC. And they must comply. Today, they are going to swear in a state chairman. The process is simple. You swear in state chairman. States where they have issues, they still have their complaint. The Adamus committee will continue working. And we will release that report. And if you are not satisfied, our constitution allows for you, after the final resolution, to go to court and seek redress. There have been chairmen who have been sworn in the past. After being sworn in, they were removed by court. I can cite an example of Delta State. One Ogodo in 2018 was sworn in. After he was sworn in, within the same 2018 or early 2019, the court removed him. The case went all the way to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court still sustained the Prophet Jones Erua committee as the executive. So these things are not new. Lawsuits are not new in the Constitution. Even governors are removed. Some have been removed a few months after they've been sworn in, and some several years after they've been sworn in. So you can't sit back tight and take the approach that until every issues are resolved, until every cleavages are managed properly, before we can take a convention. That is where the suspicion comes in. People don't think there's a sit-tight approach and that these people want to perpetuate themselves. I don't think that's their intention.
Let me flip this to Lagos, because I'm sure my colleagues have questions for you. Gentlemen.
Well, just listening to Dr. Nwoye there, it appears as though what Dr. Nwoye just spoke about, the later part of it, where people want to perpetuate themselves in office, it appears as though that is what the issue is, isn't it? Can you hear me?
Very well. I can't very well.
Can you hear me now?
Well, I don't know. Perhaps the first thing that he wanted you to speak to, Mr. Garba, is, the issues that have just been raised by Mr. Nwoye. Do you have any reactions to those issues? That, look, this thing doesn't necessarily have to wait, especially because in the light of some of the things that Mr. Nwoye has said, why do we have to wait?
Yes, what Mr. Nwoye said was very clear and concise. I'm happy he appreciated the effort of the Caretaker Extraordinary Planning Convention Planning Committee, the CECPC, under the leadership of Mai Malabuni. They've done a very great job uniting the party, bringing all members together for the first time, registered about 40-something million, I think about 41 million members now. Bring back, I can say, add about 3 state governors, into the fold of the party. I think these are an extraordinary achievement. But you see, we have a hangover of these issues ab initio. This issue did not start with the Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee. It started from the formation of the party. The party is a combination of different political parties that have different ideologies and different beliefs and different inclinations that come together to form an APC and put forward a government under the able leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari. But now we are having a transition period where President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure is expiring in 2023, and it's clearly looking like some of those party members are defaulting to their zones. The ACN guys are going back to ACN, the CPCs are going back to CPC, the AMPP are going back to AMPP, and also the new PDP are getting an ABGA. So this is the issue. And then we have also contestation between the sitting state governors and also the previous state governors that had some level of party structures. That is where we have these things, the crisis. Everything is around succession, zoning, and who next emerge as the national chairman and who becomes the next president. So these are very serious issues, are not as light as maybe as gentlemanly as it looks. So that is why from the beginning, since we have this kind of combination of political parties that formed the APC as we see it today, there are supposed to be an efficient conflict resolution mechanism within that will be moving around tallying interests from the beginning. But we carried this thing over up to this moment. And now that we succeeded in getting a somewhat very stable leadership over time, it is important for us to complete the assignment properly. at this kind of period where you have contestation and counter-contestation, agitations and challenges from within the state, and also so many court cases, lawsuits instigated around one party chairman or the other, and you have grandstanding between some ministers in some state and some state governors, or some party leaders, senators in some state and some state governors, we have to make sure that we don't come into convention in a situation whereby we can have a walkout and implosion. That is what we are trying to avoid by advocating for, even if it warrants we give extra time. We are not saying that the convention should not go ahead on the 26th. But should there be any need for extension, we should give room for this stability to be achieved before we come to convention ground. We are not saying that all parties have to agree before we come to convention ground. There must be disagreement. And if we identify someone who willfully disagreed and rejected the arrangement after conciliation committee had reached out to them, then those people should not even be allowed, in the first place to the convention ground, because of course there are supposed to be some laid down rules, critical situational analysis that will be presented to them based on their own interests, so that they can come on board and participate as genuine party members. Our target is we don't want to go into 2023 election as a united party or divided party, or at the same time get into convention on the 26th, have implosion. If we do
Mr.
that,
Garba,
it's going to spell serious doom to the image of the party and our readiness for the 2023 general election, which we have to avoid. People like us that are young people in the party, what we pay attention to most importantly is that we don't have any other party other than APC. We don't know about those camps. So whatever will happen, we need a very strong united force to be able to bring back power in 2023.
Right.
And
so,
we cannot
I mean, a lot of issues
to
now to contend with, Mr. Garba. There's the issue of timing, but particularly the grandstanding which you talk about, because for Dr. Nwoye, the convention should go ahead, February 26th. Nothing should shake it. And he thinks, I mean, you can never have a perfect setting. You have said that as well. But regarding the grandstanding, the whole clash and all that, just how significant really are they? In what states or amongst whom do you still have that grandstanding? So maybe that can give an insight into how big this might, the implosion which you predict might be.
Yes, if you look at now, for instance, in Kwara State, the camp between the minister and the executive governor is still facing challenges. In Kano, we still have the same problem. In Zamfara, we still have the same problem. Zamfara is traditionally an APC state. If you go back to Anambra, because of this kind of counter challenges, we even lost governorship election. After that, supposing even our governor won, the court case now invalidates the whole process that elected, that nominated the governor that was presented by the party, the governorship candidate that was presented by the party. So there are still issues. And of course, we are celebrating the successes of CECPC, but it is very important for us to give, if required, more room for us to be able to cement ourselves before we get into convention.
All right, Mr.
So
Garba.
many states have this kind of accusation and counter.
Okay, let's bring in Mr. Nwoye, just considering our time. So, Mr. Nwoye, does it have any point in all of those issues that he's raised? I mean, should you still go ahead with the convention, given all those issues he's highlighted? Aren't you afraid that even he highlighted there just might be that implosion?
The issue he highlighted are not new. In 2018, after the state congresses, we had well over 26 states with parallel structures. And we went ahead, they got one, including my state, Enugu State. We had a parallel structure. They went ahead and I was sworn in, re-elected, and then the parallel structure continued. In fact, as a matter of fact, the case is still in court. There's still an appeal, and I am no longer a chairman. So the same thing could happen here. We went into convention. There was no implosion, as he's predicting. Yes, some states came in and they were fighting and all that. But at the end of the day, the party rallied around. They came together. And we were able to re-elect most of our National Assembly members, re-elect a great majority of the governors, and most importantly, re-elect President Muhammadu Buhari under that circumstance. The issues we are on, the Oshomole's issues we are ongoing, and the man worked his butt out and made sure that President Muhammadu Buhari was re-elected. We didn't have the kind of, you can't say that the kind of issues we are having now is worse than what we had before. It is absolutely incorrect. If you look at what is happening now, it's actually a child's play as to what happened in 2018. Okay? So what we have now is perhaps certain interest group who want to encourage a sit-tight situation where we keep extending the goalposts. Extending the goalposts or moving the goalposts or moving the target, that is what we bring the so-called implosion. Not conducting the convention when the mandate given to this organ was provided for just 6 months. 6 months. And then you ask for another 6 months extension.
But I want to ask you quickly, how much time, if your party is going to be need, if the convention, extraordinary planning committee is going to need more time, how much more time do you think they will need?
Depending on the recommendation of the Abdullah Adamu committee, the conciliation committee, 3, 2, 1 month, however it comes. But should there be need?
What is the maximum time that you think that it's reasonable enough?
We can actually go up to June, because what you need to do is just to notify INEC 21 days. That's what you need to do. So even if like we have a month to convention, we can be able to only 1 month for us to go into primary election. We can be able to notify INEC at that point. So it's not really a very serious issue as it's been painted. But the biggest challenge here is we can't, as he's rightly saying, in 2018, we had a president that generally we agreed will be coming back. But this 2023, that president is no longer on the ballot. So these interests are becoming more stronger than it used to be at that period, and that's why we have this easier soft landing, that moment. But now, it's a completely different case. When you look at what's happening in some states, especially Kano, it's something unimaginable. You know, so we have a lot of challenges, and we have to make sure that all parties are on board properly, at least to some significant degree, before we go into convention ground.
Will 2 months be too much to give if that is going to make your party stronger?
We will have to be realistic. In 2020, June 2020 precisely, they were given 6 months to do convention, nothing more. They couldn't do it. They got for extension. They were extended for another 6 months to June. By December, I was there at the NEC. Another 6 months was granted that you must have this convention by June 2021. It didn't happen. Then somehow they got another extension. By the way, without NEC, because the NEC did not sit at the last extension. As we are speaking now, at this moment, we don't have NEC. The full NEC is not there, the full body of NEC, because our time has run up. Today, by 11 or 10 a.m., they will swear in new people. If the rumor going about is correct, then that would be a problem. When you talk about if you give 2 months, some of us want to go in and become members of the National Working Committee and contest. At what point would those people now campaign to be elected? These are national issues. This is a national campaign that must be conducted. They are supposed to zone these positions. The zoning is not out. So at what point is the zoning going to be out? So for instance, I have people who want me to contest for a national secretary position. I can't proclaim whether or not I will contest, but the zoning is not out. So if you keep extending it 1 month, 2 months, you must look at history. By that 2 months, like I said, perhaps some program will be presented, and that program will lead to another extension. Whether we like it or not, politics is about context. Different issues, different people, different ideology. You can't put every ideology in one basket. Yes, President Muhammadu Buhari will be leaving. We have other people who will take over. They need appropriate time to campaign. Right now, we have several people campaigning to become the national.
So 2 months would be too much to ask for?
It's not that it's too much. If you look at history, they couldn't do it.
I just need a yes or no for that.
Oh, okay. No extension should be asked, and no extension should be granted.
Okay, well, we'll have to leave it there, gentlemen. We have to thank you both for coming on Sunrise Early this morning. Dr. Nwoye is the former chairman of APC in Enugu State, and also former secretary, APC State Chairman Forum. Mr. Garba is an APC chieftain, and both of them have been speaking with us here in our Abuja studios. We'll see how your party eventually decides whether or not a convention will hold this month or not, but I don't think that people will be holding their breath on that. Let's see how matters proceed.